All right, welcome everybody. For those of you that aren't used to me being on this early, I am on early tonight. My son-in-law is getting a commendation at work, and I did know about it earlier, but I was out of town, so I couldn't do anything earlier. So I am posting this early today, or going live early today, so that I can actually support him tonight at his workplace. So I know there may not be a lot of you on because you don't know I'm coming on this early, so I may be talking to myself today, and that's okay. I can handle it. But if you guys are on, make sure that you do comment, type in your name in the comment section. Let me know that you're here. And if you do have any questions, you can type them in. And if you are watching this later and you have questions, you can go ahead and type those in. Just realize I won't be live at 7. I'm live right now, which I believe is 1:30 today, Mountain Standard Time. So if you are watching this at 7 o'clock, I'm not live. So real quick, some housekeeping. To play, the hostess code for May is KX6B44UU. And you can order anything. If you see anything you like and you want to order it, I would love to be your demonstrator, and you can order through me at juliebrown.stampinup.net. I also have an email address, which is juliescreativestampin@gmail.com, and a Pinterest and Facebook page that is Julie's Creative Stamping, where I do post a lot of my videos. And then I have a blog, and the blog is really important. I would love for all of you to go to my blog at stampinjuliebrown.blogspot.com and add your email to the follow me section, because then anytime I post cards to my blog, you will see them, because I do not do videos on all of the cards that I design. So there are a lot of cards on there that you will not see on my videos. So it's another good resource to get creative ideas for making cards. So let's talk about what we're going to be doing today. So we are going to be working with the Seascape Bundle along with the Layering Diorama Dies. I love these dies, and I love the sea. So anything that has to do with the sea, I'm always all about getting that. So these are the two things that we are going to be. That light is kind of messing up. Hold on. These are this is a bundle, and these are dies, and this is what we are going to be working with today. So let me just put up their numbers. So the Seascape Bundle you can find in the annual catalog on page 12, and there's 2 ways to use the dies, and I'm going to show you one way tonight. And then I did not put the page number. I apologize for the Layering Diorama Dies, but if you watch this and it's something that you want, there's the item number to order that. All right, so let's get started. So what are we going to need for our card today? You are going to need a white base that is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Sorry, you guys can see I have a hot mess here because I'm going on early and I didn't have time to clean everything up and out of the way. And then I am going to be using the Expressions in Ink Designer Series paper because I just thought this looked like the sea. And so if you want to see it a little bit closer, it has that beautiful gold foil through it. And this piece is 3 3/4 by 5. And then you're going to need a piece of gold foil that is 5 by 5. You're going to need a piece of shaded spruce that is 4 1/4 by 5.5. You are going to need a piece of mint macaron that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/4. You'll need another piece of mint macaron that is 3/4 by 4. And then you'll need a little strip of that Designer Series paper, the Expressions in Ink, that is 1/2 by 4 1/4. All right, so let's get started with this. There's actually not a ton of stamping with this one. I'm using the dies mainly. I will do another video where I use a lot of the stamping so that you can see that. And let me just bring this in a little bit so you guys can see better. So I'm going to go ahead and do this first just so I can get this out of the way. But I'm going to stamp on here, and I am going to use this sentiment from the stamp set that says, "I'm here for you always." And I'm going to be stamping that in Versamark because I'm going to be using, we're going to be embossing this just to give it a funner look. So here we go. And again, if you guys come in the middle and you want to type in and let me know you're here, that's great. Like I said, I'm not expecting anyone to be on because I am on way earlier than I normally am on. So we're going to stamp that. And when you stamp it, I don't know if you guys can see, but if you kind of turn it, angle it, see how you can see the image. So that's just kind of a good way to be able to see whether you've got the stamp on there. On some of the colors of cardstock, it's a little bit harder to see when you do that. But for this one, I could see it just fine. Okay, so now what did I do with my... I brought everything over here. Nope, that's copper. Oh, there it is. So I'm going to be using the gold embossing powder. And so we're just going to take that embossing powder, and I have these little trays. You can do this on paper too, and then just fold up the paper and put the excess embossing powder back in your case. That's the one nice thing about embossing powder is it lasts, it lasts forever. So that is, it's really a good value for your money, any of the embossing powders, because they last so long and you get so many uses out of just one little jar of embossing powder. All right, so I'm going to set this to the side. I'll clean all that up later. And then I'm going to bring in my heat tool. And so it's going to get a little loud, but we're going to bring in the heat tool. And I always let it heat up a little bit before I start trying to make it emboss. And let me see if I can bring this in a little closer so you can see it when it changes. All right. So what you're going to do if you've never used a heat gun is you just get it fairly close. And I don't know if you can see it changing, but it actually changes from a matte finish into a shiny finish. Now this heat gun does get hot, so I'm going to switch ends. There we go. So I can get that on there like that. All right, and we're done with that. So that was probably really loud, sorry. But see how it's nice and shiny now? Sorry, I paused there for a second. So it made it all pretty and shiny. I'm using a different phone today that sometimes gets messages, so I apologize if I do pause for a moment. Hopefully it'll work okay for you guys. And again, this is the first time I'm doing it at this time during the day. And here in my little town, it actually makes a difference when you get online. Okay, so then I'm going to come in with this piece. Let me make sure I don't have any embossing powder. And I'm going to bring in my Designer Series paper, and I'm just going to make sure I center that, because we're not going to see all of it. We're just going to see part of it. And I'm just using my Stampin' Seal. So I'm just going to bring that in. And like I said, we're just going to center this piece. Because just the center section is going to show. Hey, Diane. Glad you're with me today. I was just saying I'm on way early than normal because I have a special thing to go to my son-in-law's tonight. So that's why I'm on early. So now we're going to use those diorama dies. And that's these dies. And we're going to cut out 2 different sizes here with our die cut machine. So it looks like you and Brian are having so much fun. I'm loving all the pictures. I can't believe you guys got snow. Okay, so we're going to use this one as our big one. And then I'm going to kind of, so what I do is I kind of put these inside of each other to kind of measure like how big the opening is going to be. So then on this one, I'm going to do the smaller one. Okay, so let's bring in the die cut machine. Oh, it's still snowing there. Wow. Wow. It's been like horribly windy here. We went to Vegas over the weekend for my grandson's 3rd birthday. And oh my gosh, the wind driving to Vegas was horrendous. It was like 50-mile-per-hour winds. So it was a little crazy. Okay, so we're going to put this one through. And actually, I've got to, oh, I think that's actually going to be okay. We're going to run that one through. We're going to do quite a bit of die cutting right now. And then what's neat about this is that you have this piece, but now you also have this piece that you can do something with a little bit later. And this is shaded spruce. Okay, so then I'm going to bring in that mint macaron piece. And this is where I'm going to kind of look at my other, I wonder if I want to do the bigger one. Let me think this through a minute. Yeah, I think I might not want to do this little one. I think I'm going to do the one right underneath the first one and give myself a bigger opening in the middle for I'm going to be doing the seahorse in that one. So as you can see, even once I've created something, I always have to think my way through it, because you always end up changing things. All right, so those are called the Layering Diorama Dies. Pretty cool. So now I'm going to bring in that gold foil, and I'm going to cut the seahorse. Now when you cut, now this die has one of those like fancy goldfish, Japanese goldfish I think they are, and then the seahorse. You will see that when I get done cutting this, that it actually doesn't cut it completely out. And that's because you can also just like cut a piece of white paper, cut this image out and put color underneath it and design like that, and not have individual pieces. But I wanted this to be individual for this particular project, and so I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a second. All right, let me move this machine. Again, it's a really fun set. So I'm going to take the seahorse. Now you'll notice the fish, they went ahead and came out exactly like they were supposed to. And the coral reef came out like it's supposed to. And then see how the seahorse stays in. And the reason that it does that is because, let me see if I can pull in like a, so let's say I wanted to put this blue behind it. Once you get all of these little pieces, and let me get those all poked out. So once you poke all of these pieces out, you could just put this on top of a piece of cardstock and use that as kind of the shading or the coloring of your seahorse. And of course, I have that really pretty designer series paper that I'm using, but I just wanted to show you like what this is intended to do, because a lot of people have been really confused why it's not cutting all the way out. And what I'm fixing to show you is the reason that it's not. Now, normally I would use my little brush to get all these little pieces out, but because I'm using foil, the brush will scratch the foil. So that's why I'm using my little tool to poke these out. So what I'm talking about is if I just wanted to put the seahorse on here, gosh, I'm getting all these little pieces. And what's cool about this is then you can go in here and you can lift up parts of the seahorse to give it some dimension, even though it's like on, and then it has like the blue in the background. See how pretty that is? And then you would just like cut this and then like put this on a card. So like if this was my card, I would cut that blue and then I would just have that strip down like one side of the card. But do you see how that works or could work? Pretty cool. But today I want the seahorse out, and so it's not that hard to do. Again, they've designed it so it's not gonna be a lot of cutting, but basically you're just gonna kind of see where this tail, the tail and this fin meet. I just come from behind. Let me get in the camera. Whoopsies. And then I just like cut to that edge right there. For some reason, my scissors getting stuck on something. There we go. And then I'm going to come over here and cut that. Any place that it has like just a little place where it's kind of stuck together. And then on the top up here, you're going to clip and just kind of follow that, like the roundness there. And you clip it down to there. And then you have your seahorse out and you can use it individually. Hey, Connie. So yes, I'm on early tonight. My son-in-law has a big to-do tonight at work and he's getting a special commendation. And so I am, because I was out of town, I didn't get to let everybody know that this, I just found out while I was out of town. So then the cool thing about the coral in this set, again, is it has where it actually cuts parts of this out, like partially. And the reason that they do this is so that, and let me get a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. So the reason that it's like this is so you can bend up these little pieces and again, give yourself some dimension on your card. So you just kind of, you know, pop some of these up. And the reason that I do this before I put it on the card is because then it kind of helps me know where not to put glue, because I'm wanting it not to be solidly glued to the card front, because I want that dimension to pop up. And if I put glue behind these pieces, obviously it would glue it in place. So I just do a few and then I actually will finish. If I don't like the look and I want more of it to pop up, then I will go through and pop up some more of it. But I think I'm getting a good amount popped up. So I don't know if you guys can see, but see how parts of it are popped up because I just bent it forward. So cool. All right. So now we're going to bring in our card front and we're going to start building our card. And I don't think I have my dimensionals out. See what happens. Oh, yep, I do. See what happens when I go early in the day? And so what we're going to do is, this is a diorama. So it puts like you know, just like when we used to make these in school. So the largest one is going to be on the outside, and the smallest one is going to be closest to this center. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put this one on first, and I'm going to use dimensionals. And this is the one time you're going to see me use quite a few dimensionals. And the reason being is because I want to make sure I get good support. Oh gosh, sorry guys. I'm out of the picture. I want to make sure I get good support on this. And so I'm going to actually put it pretty close to this circle, and then I'm going to put some like up in these corners. Anytime I have something that's like this where you're going for a particular look, then I definitely will use more dimensionals than I normally use, which I don't use a lot when I do them. But it's just to give extra support, because I definitely want this to be popping up off that page. So always consider that when you're making a card like this. If you know, if you like these dies, then you'll definitely want to invest in some dimensionals. But see how I've got the corners, but I'm mainly wanting this area here to pop up. So that's where I'm putting all of these. And I just saw Connie. I dropped off her order. Huh, Connie? And I didn't even realize I was going to go on this early. And then my daughter called me and told me what time it was. And I was like, oh, I need to do this before I go get my grandkids, because, you know, then you guys would have heard a bunch of noise in the background with my grandkids. They always have so much to tell Grandma when I pick them up from school. So what I'm going to do is, before I lay this down, I'm going to kind of position it, and I want to actually get this in there first, because I want to make sure it's going to fit where I want it to fit. So I kind of see how I call these my dry runs. So I'm going to just kind of stick that there. I'm going to come in with some of the liquid glue. And I'm just going to put glue in the areas where there's like a good place to collect glue. But I also might want to pop, you know, make like this fin for sure stand up a little bit. But I'm just going to hit a couple of places, not real heavy with the glue. All right, and so I think it was about right there. So now I can lay him down. And again, see how I can, because I only put glue on the bottom, I can, again, I'm giving this some dimension down here. So always think about that when you're placing pieces, and especially when you're doing something that is dimensional. All right, so there's that. So now I'm ready to come in with that piece, that mint macaron piece. And let's see, I probably need to make sure it's on this side first. I think I've got it exactly at 4 1/4. Oh, it's a little less than 4 1/4, so I have a little bit of leeway on my side here. Okay, so then that's going to come in like so. And I don't know if you can see it, but see how it's got that space between. Then I'm going to come in with this piece, and again, I'm going, now you can choose to either make this go straight on there like that, and it still gives that dimension, or you could pop up this dimension as well, which I think is what I want to do on this card. So I'm going to come in with a more dimensionals. It's a little bit harder, I will tell you this, it is a little bit harder to get it positioned exactly right when you have dimensionals on it, because I'm trying to line this up exactly. And so you'll see what I mean in just a minute. It's just a little bit more challenging to get it where you want it. But you can still do it. It's still possible. And again, I'm just making sure that we've got support everywhere where I think I'm going to need support. And let me just yank these off. I'm so glad a couple of you joined me today. I like snuck in. So that's always exciting. And again, if you didn't get in on the beginning, this will be, it's being posted to that Julie's Creative Stamping Facebook page, and you can go back and watch the beginning if you want to. Okay, so now we're going to come in, and this is where it gets a little trickier because I want to make sure that I am lining this up correctly. Just the biggest trick is don't push anything down until you like, so I'm going to close my card to make sure I don't see any of the white edge. Okay, that looks pretty good. We'll see when I turn it over if I got it good. And so, I mean, you can kind of see the green on the top there, but it's also because it's popped up. So there we have. So, and then again, you can see that piece. So I've got two pieces popped up. So we're making quite a thick little card here. And then to finish it off, so I'm going to bring in that piece that I did the saying on, and it's going to go up here. And I think I want to bring in, let's see if I have it. If I have it here, I'll bring it in. Yes, I'm going to use some of the Simply Elegant trim from the Elegantly Said suite. And I just kind of want a little circle. So there's like my circle. And I'm going to use a mini glue dot here. Let's see. So I kind of want to get these at my two ends up here at the top. And then I'm going to bring in a mini glue dot for this. And I'm just going to stick this right there in this top little section. And then we're going to just stick that trim to that mini glue dot like so. Okay. And then I may have done that a little bit lower than I wanted, but then what we're going to do is we're going to bring this in. And again, you could pop this up, but because I popped if I had not popped up this top layer, I would be popping this up. But because I popped up that top layer, I don't want to do another layer that is popped up because, you know, that just costs more to send. And so now I'm going to come in and I'm just going to try to get this centered. Sorry, I'm being really quiet because I'm trying to, anytime I'm trying to get things straight, you guys will notice I get a little quieter. All right, so then there's that. And now we're going to come in with our coral reef. And like I said, see how on the back side you can see better like the pieces that kind of got folded up. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of go around those pieces and just pick the pieces that I want to be solid down. And just put a little bit of glue. You guys will notice I don't use a ton of glue when I'm doing this because you really don't need a ton of glue. And then I am going to, and part of this is going to be off the page and I will be trimming it because I want this as far in this corner as I can get it. So I'm just going to press this, and you might need to hold it a little bit to let the glue take hold. And then I'll just flip it over, and then I'm going to trim that piece right there off. Oops, got some of the card. And this piece right here off. And again, I got some of the cardstock. Didn't want to do that. Okay, so then it fits perfectly and it's not off the page. Which, I mean, if you're scrapbooking, you can go off the page with stuff, but if you're, or, you know, off like a small section like this, but if you're making cards, it's got to fit in the envelope. So you always got to keep that in mind. Okay, so then I'm going to come in with my little fish. And again, these little fish, and I'll show it to you this way, you can also push up their gills. And so I'm just using a little tool here, which this is on the, I guess I'll use the one, that used to be the old tool, but if you use the one that's on the take your pick tool, we're going to turn it to that little section. And again, we're going to take this other little fish and we're just going to push through and kind of bend while we're doing that. And then that's going to make those gills have dimension on your fish. So see? It's hard to see three-dimensional on a camera, isn't it? Okay, and then so then I'm going to just take this fish and he's going to go right there. And again, you have to keep in mind that you have dimension here. So I'm only going to put glue like on his tail, because that's the part that's actually over here. This part, if I were to put glue under here, it would end up folding that fish, the head of the fish down, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to stick that right there. And then I am going to come in with my other little fish, and it's going to actually kind of go like right there. So I can actually put glue, more glue on him. Again, I don't use a ton of glue. And so he's just gonna, because you know, fish like to be around the coral. Makes them safe from predators. All right, so there is our card. Now understand, this would look just as pretty not using gold foil, but like cutting all of these out in different colors and making an entire seascape scene with these. And then don't forget these pieces that you've cut out, because you can use those. And I may do another card using those pieces. So for the inside, and so this is just a little tip that I learned a long time ago. So anytime that you're trying to match gold, but you don't want to do embossing on the inside, use crumb cake, because it's the perfect color and it looks just like gold when you stamp it. So on the inside of this one, I am going to put "Just thought you should know how wonderful you are." So we're going to bring that in. I guess it would help if I put it on there somewhat straight, right? And we're going to ink up that crumb cake. Again, I'm going to try to get it straight. Again, it's a little hard when I've got all this dimension, so I'm actually going to kind of hold this in place. And then I'm just going to come in and hopefully get this on here straight. Okay, but I don't see how it, because it's the color and it actually looks, it's not as shiny, but it still has that gold tint to it. So it matches up any type of gold sentiments that or gold design that you're doing on the front. So just remember that crumb cake is a good alternative for gold. Alrighty, and then I should have another little piece, and I think I may have lost my piece. Oh, and then this is another strip of that designer series paper with the gold through it. And I'm just going to put this along the bottom edge. And so I do this fairly slowly because I'm trying to make sure that I'm getting it down right flush with that bottom edge. Like so. All right, so there we are, guys. Pretty easy card. And again, like I said, I might like go later and do some trimming because I can, this is kind of bugging. Well, see, it's so funny. It's the angle that you show it at. But there is the card. So aren't those fun? Those are just such, it's a fun set. Both sets of dies are a lot of fun. And like I said, I will probably do some more cards with this set. But this is the Seascape Bundle. So I use the Seascape Bundle, which is this stamp set. Oh, I guess I need to go back out again. Stamp set and dies. And then I combined it with those, sorry, I dropped one, with the Diorama dies. And then this is the card that came out of it. So fun card, huh? And this one is so elegant and pretty because I did use gold. But like I said, I'm going to make some others where I just cut out the die and, you know, like I showed you earlier. And I'm going to put those on some cards. And then, and this is a fun one to experiment with because just doing it in some different colors. But I think this one just came out beautifully. So I hope you guys liked it. And again, if you're watching this at 7, I'm not live, but you can still make comments and I will see them later. And I do apologize for the short notice of not being live at 7, but the video will still be there. So anyway, guys, thanks. Well, let me get this switched. Having problems with switching. Thanks for those of you that joined me, Diane and Connie. I'm so glad you guys were here today. It was fun having somebody here to talk to. And I hope you liked that set. And again, if you have any questions, just please make sure you let me know. And I will be talking to you guys next Tuesday. So everybody have a great week. And you know, like I said, you know, once in a while I go on some other days, but I think right now I'm going to be sticking to Tuesday because I have a pretty crazy schedule this week. And Diane, keep posting those pictures. I'm loving all those pictures from where you guys are at. So you guys continue to have a great time up there. It always looks like you're having a good time. So I will be talking to all of you next Tuesday. Everybody have a good rest of your day. Talk to you soon. Bye.